Bringing you another episode of Pottawattamie County Roots. Hi, I am Todd Studer, and I am in studio today, actually in the new studio that I put together. And I'd mentioned before that it might be kind of fun to talk about some of the different things that are on the set and to let you know what personalizes this for me, because one of the things that I do here is these sets are available for others to use and to be able to record in, and there's a way to personalize these sets just the way that I personalized this one to what it is that I do. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be moving around just a little bit here as we do this. This first thing that sits over here, this is an autographed picture of Dallas Clark. We'll just kind of set him right there. So Dallas went to high school up in Northwest Iowa, very close to where I grew up, and then eventually became an All-American at the University of Iowa as a tight end, went on to win a Super Bowl with the Colts, and is now in the Hall of Fame. So this is something that he was signing. He signed a bunch of pictures as a fundraiser for his school, and this was, I think I paid $20 for it. And to me, I have no idea if it has any actual value or not, but to me it was worth $20. So, and that was just, it was radio job when I was doing this up in Northwest Iowa, in the community of Humboldt, Iowa is where that was at. So anyway, there's something over here. Let me show you real quick. I'm going to pull this out. This kind of sits back a little bit. This is an old baseball bat that has Johnny Bench's signature on it right here. And I think it was after I moved away from home that my little brother put all of this tape around the bat. But this was something that I received, I don't know, it was a little bit before Little League, and I wanted my own bat, and my mother did not understand that I needed an aluminum bat. So she got me a wooden one, which are much heavier, and the coach said, no, you're not using that. So this never actually saw any gameplay, but it saw a lot of activity out in the backyard, and there's a lot of dents on this from me hitting rocks with it. So this goes back to my childhood, and that's just one of the things that I have here on the set. All right, this plant that is back here, this was a gift when I moved into this facility from my good friend Bambi Wilson at Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market. She stopped by and gave me that, and it fortunately doesn't need a lot of sunlight, and it also doesn't need a lot of water, and so far it has survived pretty well, although it is looking a little peaked right now. Maybe it needs more sunlight than I realize. All right, I'm going to step up out of frame here for just a second and come back down with this picture that you can't really see very well on the set, but it is up on the top shelf. This was something that I purchased from a landscape photographer here that lives in Council Bluffs. His name is Troy Burris, and he's very, very talented. And it was one of the cows that they had out at Hitchcock, and he was doing this and selling these as a fundraiser for Hitchcock Nature Center. So I said, yeah, I'll buy one of those. And now it sits up here on my set. Let's see what else we can find. Oh, okay, this one you're going to like. This is an album that I'm not on, but some of my words are on this album. Back when I was in school, this would have gone back to sixth grade, I think, is when we did this. There was a program around Iowa called Artists in Schools, and a musician came by and taught the different classes on how to write music. And we all wrote a song, and he did this in a lot of different places around the state. And the song that my class wrote ended up on this album. It wasn't us singing it, but we had written a song about having a first date, you know, because when you're in sixth grade, what else do you know? Not a lot. So, and I didn't know anything about that. But anyway, that was the name of the song. Larry Gross is the man's name. And he ended up doing a song called Junk Food Junkie that actually hit the top 10 earlier before then. So I found this album here in Council Bluffs at a place called Canesville Collectibles. And I was just kind of leafing through some of the different things, and I saw this and I went, holy cats, you got to be kidding me. I hadn't seen this since probably 1982 or 83, because it came out in 1982. So yeah, I purchased this, and now it sits up here on my shelf here behind me here on the set. All right, pulling this down. This is a very old catcher's mitt. Goes back to, I believe, the 60s, and I'm not sure if you can see this on the back or not. Let me get up and come a little bit closer. Do you remember the holiday gas stations and convenience stores? They had all of these different things in there. I mean, you could buy soda that had the holiday label on it in their own cans. So this actually has a holiday label that is stitched onto it. And this is very bad. I mean, this isn't what any of the current mitts would be like. And plus, it's made for a much smaller person. You can kind of see my hand doesn't even fit into this thing anymore. And it never was shaped. It just kind of left flat like this. But again, something that I grew up with and has ended up here. The football over here. This was a gift. It was a Christmas gift. To be honest, I don't even remember exactly who it was that gave it to me. But I can tell you that it's never been played. It's just kind of been a decoration for a while, and it's even flat now. But it's a football. I'm a big football fan, and that sits right here. Okay, let me get out of the way here a little bit and show you. This is an old radio receiver. Realistic. It is designed to a multi-band, pick up different stations from around the world. This belonged to my wife's father, and he passed away last year, and this was sitting in his garage. And I asked her, what are you going to do with that? And she said, I don't know. Do you want it? And I said, yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool on a set. So that's just a little piece of him here. And he, again, I plugged it in once. It makes a heck of a racket. Doesn't actually tune anything in, but that's the that is where this came from. Also, there's another radio down here in the corner. This is an old Motorola that I believe is from the late 1950s, and this does still work. I plugged it in and it was tuning in, had that old sound. I can remember this being in the kitchen when I was a kid, and now it sits on my set. Next to here, this is a Hank Aaron bobblehead. I got this when I went to what is now Truist Field in Atlanta. I'm a Braves fan, and they were giving these away to the first 20,000 fans, and I was one of them, and I had no idea that they were even doing it. But, you know, I got the bobblehead, and even has a advertisement for Napa on there because they were the ones that promoted that. So that is where that came from. I'm telling you all that to tell you this. These are my things, but you see this shelf here? If this is a studio that you would like to be able to use and be able to record in, you can personalize it with your own things. And we can just take this off, put your things up there. You can record your own podcast or whatever it is that you would like to do. And that's the way that it's designed. So that is in this studio. We're going to take a break here, and when we come back, I will show you what's in the other studio there at the table that you've seen a lot of these shows at. So that's coming up right after this. What if your healthcare provider came to you? Me to You is an Iowa-based in-home primary care practice, bringing personalized medical care directly to your home. Especially helpful for people who have difficulty getting out, Me to You serves patients of all ages, from children through end-of-life care, from wellness visits and chronic disease management to preventative care and advanced care planning. That means less time traveling, less time in waiting rooms, and more time where it matters most. Learn more at metouYou.care or call 641-843-8405. Service Master Restore by Schmader knows it can be hard to get things back to normal when you've suffered serious property damage due to flooding, fire, or smoke, and that can oftentimes lead to mold, and you may be left with all sorts of questions about how to get your home or business back to normal. It's easy. You give Cindy Schmader a call with Service Master Restore by Schmader. Her phone number, 402-339-9911. All right, haven't moved into the more traditional studio where I work. By the way, this microphone is not currently on, so I'm using the wireless mic. So let's go through some of the different items that I have here in this set. And I'm going to start, well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and start with this. This was a gift from some friends down in Georgia, and they were in a secondhand store and saw it, and they thought, boy, that looks like Todd. So they got it for me. It's an old ham radio mic, and it has connectors on it that I would never be able to use this thing, so I have no idea how good the microphone may or may not sound, but it definitely looks really cool sitting on a set. So I'm very happy that we were able to repurpose it and be able to use it in here. Moving on, let's see what we've got here. This is a Route 66 sign that my friend Rick Graybill gave me. He actually gave this to me the first day I met him. We'd stopped by his shop. He wanted to show me around, and he said, I told him that before my father passed, we had been talking about taking a trip on Route 66 and had made all of the plans. And unfortunately, he passed away before we were able to do that. And Rick said, "Oh, you got to take the sign now." So that is where this came from. And that is what we're doing in here with it. So that sits with pride right back there. And speaking of my father, that is where this came from. This is my dad's 4-foot level. Still has his initials on there, DB, and I worked with him back when I was in high school as a laborer for a house framing company. My dad and my grandfather started a framing company and were putting together houses, and this was the level that he used, and it now sits on my set. He ended up getting a different one because he said this one wasn't working anymore. I don't think he was right about that. I think it still works just fine. But that is where that came from. All right, I got a couple of things in here. This lamp, by the way, this is also something that came from my wife's father's house. Again, I thought it was really cool, had an old look to it. The globe also, and this radio, this old Magnavox radio, just not having a lot of other useful purpose anymore because it's not operational, but it does make it for a really cool set. This here with the chef, this was a gift from my daughter. She was young, could have been 5 or 6, I think, when she gave that to me. And when she did, I love to cook. And when she gave that to me, I had a couple of tears in my eyes. Primrose Retirement Community in Council Bluffs believes home should be a place of comfort, connection, and care. From personalized support to engaging daily activities, everything they do is designed to help residents live fully and confidently. At Primrose, that's their priority, to put the quality of their residents' care and daily needs at the top of their list each day and every day. It's not just about where you live, it's about how you live. Learn more about life at Primrose by going to primroseretirement.com and then contact Jamie Bush at Primrose and discover a place that truly puts people first. Your home for all natural health solutions in Southwest Iowa is Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market. Serving the area since 1997, Bambi is located at 805 South Main Street in Council Bluffs and has a wide selection of vitamins, supplements, essential oils, herbal remedies, and a lot more. Staffed with over 37 years of experience, Bambi is putting health back in your hands. Explore your wellness options online at bambisgreenacres.com. And this, the last thing that I'm going to show you here, is an old axe handle. And this was from a trip to Colorado with my son. And we were up doing some driving on some old dirt roads. And we found an old campsite. And it looked like people had been there just a few days before. But this was just laying there. And he picked it up and we posed for pictures with it. And he said, "Dad, can I keep it?" And I said, "Sure, you can." And it did have some more paint on it, more than it does now. But this is kind of just a cool reminder of that trip. We had such a great time on that trip to Colorado. And I'm glad that I've got that memory of that sitting here. So anyway, when you're thinking about what is it that you're going to do for your own podcast and what is it that you want to have on the set. These are just some of the things. Personalize it for yourself. These are just things that are personal to me. And we can repurpose anything and make it to where it fits what is that you do. So if you have an idea, come talk to me. I'd love to talk to you about it. And I still am of the belief that podcasting is in its infancy stages. I don't think that it is all that it is going to be yet. What I use it for is a different way of doing media. And it is small market media. You've seen a lot of the interviews that I do here on Pottawattamie County Roots. We talk with different people in the different communities, whether it be mayors or city administrators or nonprofit workers or small business owners. A lot of folks that work for the county have been here sitting across the table, whether it be emergency management or, county supervisors or, all of these different folks that help make everything work. This is a platform for them to be able to tell their stories and also be able to talk to you and get you information. And that is what is important that we do here. By the way, if you did not catch the show Council Bluffs today, earlier I made an announcement on that show that we are launching a new feature. It is called the CB Journal, and it is newspaper style, although it is not a newspaper. It will be strictly digital only. And as I say in that show, I don't know yet everything that it can or will be. Just like when I started these other shows, I didn't know what they were going to become. And to be honest, I don't know that they're fully formed yet. I think we're still evolving. But what I do know is that there is no way to anticipate everything on a launch. So just get started. And I would encourage you to do that. If you have a business idea, do it. Just get going. What's the worst that can happen? Well, the worst that can happen is it doesn't work out and you're in no worse situation than you are today. So try, give it a shot. You never know what may come of it. And this is just my little personal pep talk when it comes to entrepreneurs. So that's going to wrap up today's show. Thank you so much for being a part of it and just kind of letting me reminisce a little bit and walk down memory lane with some of these different items that I have on the sets. They're here for a reason, and they're here to remind me, and it's a connection to my past, and a lot of it, a way for me to be able to remember my dad, which, by the way, I never told you, this was my dad's thermos. This was the exact thermos that he took to work back when I was in high school. I saw him drink so many cups of coffee out of this thing, and it really brings back the memories. I remember after Dad passed and my brother and I were going through some stuff, and he just went, "Todd," and he pointed, and I said, "Do you want it?" And he said, "No, it's yours." And it sits here now, and that's just a way for me to be able to remember him. So before I get all choked up, I'm going to wrap up this episode. Big thank you to our hometown sponsors, including Brewed Awakening in Avoca. Stop by, see Bella, get a great cup of coffee there in Avoca, and also grab something to eat. Her menu changes every day. She's got different things in there depending on what day it is. So, but you're supporting local, and you're supporting small businesses, and you're supporting, in this particular case, a young entrepreneur that is doing great things. And we need them out there. And how do we keep them and how do we support them? By going to their businesses and by buying a cup of coffee and telling her thank you. Hey, thanks for being willing to take the risk and putting yourself out here. That's Brewed Awakening in Avoca on Main Street. So I encourage you to stop by. All right. Wraps everything up for today. My name is Todd Studer. We'll see you next time.